The research vessel Serenity's Hope drifted through the empty space between stars. Its hull gleamed silver under the distant light of foreign suns. Inside the ship, 3 different species worked together in peaceful cooperation. This was what the Galactic Peaceful Alliance stood for. Dr. Zara Quellesh pressed her webbed hands against the scanner display. Her large, dark eyes reflected the strange readings that filled the screen. As a Quellan, she was used to water and gentle currents. The readings she saw now made no sense to her scientific mind. "Captain Veltar," she called out in her musical voice. "You need to see this." Captain Veltar floated over to her station. His crystalline body caught the ship's lights and threw rainbow patterns across the walls. The Zilithian captain had commanded research missions for over 200 standard years. He had never seen readings like these. "What am I looking at, Doctor?" he asked. "Energy signatures from the rim systems," Zara replied. "This level of biological activity should be impossible. The radiation levels alone would kill most known life forms." The third member of their command team clicked over to join them. Commander Thek's insect-like body moved with mechanical precision. The Vorthak officer's compound eyes studied the data with scientific curiosity. "Recommendation: investigate." Thek buzzed in their translated speech. "Unknown life forms present research opportunity." Captain Veltar made the decision that would change everything. Set course for the energy source. Maximum safe speed. 3 days later, Serenity's Hope entered a solar system that defied all their scientific understanding. The third planet from the star glowed blue and green in their viewports. Swirling white clouds covered vast oceans and great landmasses. It looked beautiful and peaceful from space. The scanner readings told a different story. Atmospheric pressure 3 times galactic standard, Zara reported. Gravity 2.5 times normal. Radiation levels that would cook most organic tissue in minutes. Oxygen levels so high that a single spark could ignite the entire atmosphere. Temperature variations extreme, added Thek. From below freezing to above boiling across different regions. Weather systems violent beyond measurement. Captain Veltar stared at the planet below. How can anything live there? Their answer came when they sent down their first automated probe. The small device descended through the deadly atmosphere and began taking samples. Within 10 minutes, something grabbed it. The probe's cameras showed green tendrils wrapping around its metal body. Then the transmission cut to static. "The plants ate our probe," Zara said in disbelief. They sent down 3 more probes. Each one was destroyed within minutes. One was torn apart by creatures that moved faster than their cameras could track. Another was dissolved by acid rain. The third simply vanished into what looked like a normal patch of ground. "This world is a death trap," Captain Veltar muttered. "Nothing should be able to survive down there." That was when their long-range sensors picked up something far worse than a hostile planet. Commander Thek's antennae twitched with alarm as he processed the data. "Captain," he buzzed urgently. "Devourer Hive fleet approaching this system. Distance 4 light days. Estimated arrival 72 standard hours." The bridge fell silent. Every member of the crew knew what that meant. The Devourers were the galaxy's greatest nightmare. They were a species that consumed entire worlds, leaving nothing but empty rock floating in space. No military force had ever defeated them. The best anyone could do was run and hope the Devourers chose a different target. "We need to leave immediately," Captain Veltar said. "Alert all stations for emergency departure." Before they could engage their engines, something made them stop. A signal came from the planet's surface. It was weak and primitive, transmitted on ancient electromagnetic frequencies, but the pattern was unmistakable. "Mathematics," Zara whispered. "Someone down there is sending mathematical sequences. This is a communication attempt." The signal repeated over and over. Prime numbers, geometric progressions, basic algebraic formulas. Someone on that hellish world was intelligent. They were trying to talk to anyone who might be listening. Captain Veltar faced the hardest decision of his career. They could leave right now and reach safety before the Devourers arrived, or they could try to warn the unknown species below about what was coming. The first choice meant certain survival for his crew. The second choice meant breaking every first contact protocol the Alliance had ever written. "Dr. Quellesh," he said finally, "can you decode their mathematical language?" "I can try," she replied. "Commander Thek, calculate our maximum safe departure time. 68 hours before Devourer arrival makes departure impossible," Thek buzzed. For the next 6 hours, Zara worked to understand the alien mathematics. The beings on the surface used a base 10 counting system. Their geometric understanding was surprisingly advanced. Most importantly, they seemed to understand the concept of stellar positioning and time measurement. "I think I can send them a message," Zara announced. "Basic star charts and numerical sequences showing something large approaching their system." "Do it," Captain Veltar ordered. They transmitted their warning using the same mathematical language. Star positions showing the Devourer fleet's approach. Time calculations indicating when they would arrive. Basic geometric shapes that might represent the size and threat level of what was coming. Then they waited. The response from the planet's surface came faster than they expected. Instead of panic or confusion, the return message contained detailed questions. The beings below wanted to know about Devourer ship configurations. They asked about weapon systems and tactical patterns. They requested information about previous Devourer attacks and how other species had tried to fight them. "They are not asking how to run away," Zara said with growing amazement. "They want to know how to fight." Captain Veltar transmitted everything they knew about the Devourers. Ship sizes that dwarfed space stations. Bioweapons that dissolved matter at the atomic level. Swarm tactics that overwhelmed defensive positions through pure numbers. A perfect record of consumption and destruction across 1,000 worlds. The planet's response chilled them to their alien bones. Translated into basic language, the message was simple and terrifying. "Thank you for the warning. We will handle this ourselves." Over the next few hours, everything changed. The planet that had seemed primitive began showing energy signatures unlike anything in their databases. Massive structures rose from the oceans. The electromagnetic spectrum filled with complex communications using frequencies that reached far beyond the local system. "They are calling for help," Zara realized. "No," Commander Thek corrected, his sensors detecting something impossible. "They are calling their military." Ships began appearing in the outer system. First one, then 10, then hundreds. Each vessel was different from the others, but all carried the same aggressive design philosophy. These were not exploration ships or cargo haulers. These were weapons built for one purpose only. The beings on the death world below were not a primitive species sending out desperate calls for rescue. They were an established military power, warning their fleets that someone had threatened their territory. Captain Veltar watched the growing armada with a mixture of awe and terror. In less than 24 hours, the unknown species had assembled a war fleet, larger than anything the Galactic Alliance could field. These creatures from the impossible world were preparing to fight the galaxy's most feared enemy, and from their confident communications, they seemed to think they could win. Serenity's hope hung in space between two approaching forces. Behind them came the Devourer hive fleet that had never known defeat. Ahead of them gathered an alien armada from species that treated death worlds as home. The crew realized they were about to witness something that would change the galaxy forever. The only question was whether they would survive to tell anyone about it. The alien warships continued to arrive in the outer system. Captain Veltar counted over 300 vessels now, each one bristling with weapons that his scanners could not fully identify. The energy readings were beyond anything in Alliance databases. "Captain," Dr. Quellish called from her station, "we are receiving a direct communication. They have learned our language." The main screen activated, showing a bipedal figure with pale skin and dark hair. The being stood upright like a Vorthak but had soft features like a Qualan. Its eyes were small and forward-facing, clearly those of a predator species. "Greetings," the alien said in perfectly translated galactic standard. "I am Admiral Sarah Chen of the Human Defense Fleet. We thank you for your warning about the approaching hostile force." Captain Veltar stepped forward. "I am Captain Veltar of the Galactic Peaceful Alliance vessel Serenity's Hope. We are honored to make contact with your species. We must warn you that the Devourers cannot be defeated through conventional warfare. You should evacuate your population immediately." Admiral Chen smiled, showing small white teeth. The expression looked friendly, but something about it made Captain Veltar's crystalline structure vibrate with unease. "Captain, we appreciate your concern," she said, "but evacuation will not be necessary. We have dealt with similar threats before. However, we would be grateful for any tactical information you can provide about these Devourers." Dr. Quellish transmitted everything they knew. Devourer bioships that regenerated damage faster than most weapons could cause it. Acid-based weapons that ate through any known armor. Swarm tactics that relied on overwhelming numbers and biological aggression. Admiral Chen listened carefully, occasionally asking specific questions about weapon penetration depths and regeneration rates. Her questions showed a deep understanding of military tactics and battlefield engineering. "Most interesting," she said when the briefing ended. "These creatures sound similar to the tyrant swarms we encountered in the Kepler region, though those had crystalline carapaces instead of biohulls." "You have fought similar enemies before?" Captain Veltar asked. "Oh yes," Admiral Chen replied casually. "Humanity has been dealing with hostile alien species for over 2 centuries. The galaxy is full of dangerous life forms. We have learned to defend ourselves." Commander Thek's sensors detected something alarming. "Admiral Chen, my readings show your planetary defense systems are not activating. Recommendation: prepare surface fortifications for siege warfare." Admiral Chen's smile grew wider. "Commander, we will not be conducting defensive operations. The Devourer fleet will not reach our planet." The bridge of Serenity's Hope fell silent. Every crew member understood the implication. The humans were planning to engage the Devourer fleet in open space combat. This was tactically impossible. No species had ever successfully fought Devourers in direct combat. "Admiral," Captain Veltar said carefully, "the Devourers have conquered over 1,000 worlds. Their bioships number in the tens of thousands. Your fleet, while impressive, appears to have only a few hundred vessels." "That is correct, Captain. We prefer quality over quantity." Admiral Chen paused, seeming to consider her next words. "Captain, I must ask that you withdraw your vessel to a safe distance. What happens next may disturb your crew. Your species appear to be peaceful, and we would prefer not to damage our new diplomatic relationship." Before Captain Veltar could respond, the human fleet began moving. But they did not form a defensive formation around their home world. Instead, they spread out across multiple star systems, creating what their tactical broadcast called a hunting pattern. Dr. Quailesh analyzed the human communications frequencies. What she discovered made her gills flutter with shock. "Captain," she whispered, "they are not discussing how to defend against the Devourers. They are planning how to hunt them." The human tactical channels carried casual discussions of bug extermination and pest control operations. They spoke of weapon systems with names like planet crackers and star burners. Their logistics officers discussed ammunition supplies for something called kinetic bombardment arrays. Most disturbing of all, they referenced previous battles against creatures called void swimmers, star eaters, and dimension crawlers. The humans had been fighting galaxy-level threats for generations, and they spoke of these enemies like farmers discussing troublesome insects. Admiral Chen contacted them again 12 hours before the Devourers were scheduled to arrive. "Captain Veltar, our deep space sensors show the hostile fleet is larger than your initial estimates. Approximately 15,000 bioships, including several planet-class vessels. We wanted to thank you again for the early warning. It will make our job much easier." "Admiral," Captain Veltar said desperately, 15,000 ships cannot be defeated by 300. You must reconsider evacuation." "Captain, I understand your concern, but you are thinking like a defensive species. Humans evolved on a world where everything tries to kill us every day. We learned long ago that the best defense is overwhelming offense." Admiral Chen's predator smile returned. "We do not plan to fight 15,000 ships. We plan to kill them." The human fleet finished its deployment as the Devourer Hive fleet entered the outer system. Captain Veltar ordered Serenity's Hope to retreat to what they hoped was a safe distance. From their position, they could observe both fleets as they approached each other. The Devourers came as they always did, with biological confidence and unstoppable momentum. Their bioships moved in organic formations, flowing through space like living things. At the center of their fleet, massive planet-class vessels pulsed with malevolent life. These were the ships that consumed worlds, turning entire civilizations into biomass for the Hive. The human fleet waited motionless in space, spread across the system like a spider's web. Their ships showed no fear, no hesitation. They simply waited for their enemies to come within range. "Dr. Quailesh," Captain Veltar said quietly, "are you recording everything?" "Yes, Captain, though I am not sure anyone will believe our report." "Captain," Commander Thek buzzed, "human vessels are powering up weapon systems. Energy readings exceed measurement capabilities." On the main screen they could see both fleets clearly now. The Devourers, dark and organic, flowing toward the human homeworld with the confidence of a species that had never been stopped. The humans motionless and waiting, their ships gleaming like metal predators in the starlight. Admiral Chen's voice came over the communication channel one final time before the battle began. All human vessels. This is Admiral Chen. The enemy has entered our territory and threatened our home. Show them what happens when someone disturbs a sleeping Death Worlder. Execute Protocol 7. Leave no survivors. The response from hundreds of human ships was simultaneous and chilling. Understood, Admiral. Extermination protocols active. Death to the hive. Captain Veltar realized with growing horror that they were not about to witness a desperate last stand by a doomed species. They were about to watch apex predators demonstrate why nothing else in the galaxy should threaten their territory. The battle for the human system was about to begin, and the crew of Serenity's Hope was starting to suspect that the Devourers had made a terrible mistake. More human ships continued to arrive even as the Devourer fleet approached. Captain Veltar watched in amazement as vessels emerged from hyperspace jumps that should have been impossible. These ships came from distances that would take most species months to travel, yet they arrived within hours of each other. Captain, Dr. Quilesh reported, I am detecting over 40 different ship designs. Each fleet appears to come from a different star system. How many systems do these humans control? Captain Veltar asked. According to their navigation broadcasts, at least 60 confirmed colonies. Commander Thek replied, possibly more beyond sensor range. What disturbed the Alliance crew most was not the number of human worlds but the types of worlds they inhabited. As each fleet arrived, their ships' environmental systems revealed their origins. Ships from frozen worlds operated in temperatures that would flash freeze most species. Vessels from volcanic systems ran internal temperatures hot enough to melt metal. Ships from high radiation zones carried crews that worked in environments lethal to normal life. They do not just live on one death world, Dr. Quilesh whispered. They have colonized dozens of them. Each human fleet reflected its homeworld's deadly nature. Ships from ice worlds moved silently through space, their hulls designed for stealth and endurance. Their crews worked in perfect coordination, communicating through methods that Alliance sensors could barely detect. Fleets from volcanic worlds bristled with heavy armor and energy weapons. Their ships glowed with heat signatures that made them visible across the entire system. These crews seemed to prefer direct confrontation, their communications filled with aggressive tactical planning. The most disturbing ships came from worlds bathed in radiation. These vessels operated systems that would kill most organic life instantly. Their crews casually discussed working in environments that measured thousands of times above lethal exposure levels. How do they survive in such conditions? Captain Veltar asked. Evolution, Dr. Quilesh replied grimly. They have adapted to environments that would kill us in seconds. What we consider deadly, they consider normal. Admiral Chen contacted Serenity's Hope as her flagship. The Indomitable took position at the center of the human formation. Captain Veltar, we have completed our fleet assembly. Final count, 847 vessels representing 63 colony worlds and the home fleet. Admiral, Captain Veltar said, we are honored to witness your species' military coordination. However, we must again urge caution. The Devourer bioships outnumber your fleet nearly 20-1. Admiral Chen's predator smile appeared on screen again. Captain, you are thinking in terms of normal warfare. Humans do not fight normal wars. We evolved on a world where survival required killing everything that threatened us. When we reached the stars, we found more things that needed killing. She gestured to her tactical display, which showed the human fleet deployment. Each of our colony worlds has faced extinction-level threats. Ice worlds taught us patience and precision. Fire worlds taught us aggression and overwhelming force. Radiation worlds taught us to fight in environments that kill our enemies faster than they kill us. But how can you coordinate such diverse tactical approaches? Commander Thek asked. Simple, Admiral Chen replied. We all learned the same lesson on our different worlds. When something threatens humanity, we kill it completely. No survivors, no second chances, no mercy. This is not a battle, Captain. This is extermination. The human tactical networks buzzed with communications that chilled the Alliance crew. Fleet commanders discussed acceptable loss ratios and maximum kill efficiency. They spoke of their own ships and crews like ammunition in a vast calculation. Volcanic Fleet 7 will execute Rami. Attacks on the planet-class bioships, one commander reported. Estimated survival rate 12%, estimated kill rate 85%. Confirmed, Admiral Chen replied calmly. Ice Fleet 3 will provide covering fire for ram attacks. Radiation Fleet 1 will board remaining vessels for biological sampling. Captain Veltar realized with growing horror that the humans were planning to sacrifice their own ships and crews with mathematical precision. They treated their own lives as resources to be expended for maximum tactical advantage. Admiral, he said urgently, surely there must be another way. We could contact the Galactic Alliance Military Command. Perhaps a joint operation? Captain? Admiral Chen interrupted gently. Your Alliance military has never successfully engaged Devourers. We have 17 separate encounters over the past century. We have learned their weaknesses, studied their biology, and developed countermeasures for their weapons. She paused, studying something off-screen. More importantly, we have learned that mercy toward species like the Devourers is not kindness. It is stupidity. They will consume every living world they can reach. The only permanent solution is complete elimination. Dr. Quilesh analyzed the human communications more deeply. What she found made her question everything she thought she knew about civilized behavior. Captain, she whispered, they are discussing biological weapons, viruses designed to attack Devourer bioships at the cellular level, chemical agents that will dissolve their organic hulls. They have been studying captured Devourer specimens for decades. How did they capture live Devourers? Captain Veltar asked. Previous battles, Commander Thek reported. Their databases reference encounters and systems designated as Kepler 442, Wolf 359, and Proxima Centauri b. In each case, human forces completely destroyed Devourer fleets and captured survivors for study. The implications struck the Alliance crew like a physical blow. The humans had been fighting and defeating galaxy-level threats for generations. What the rest of the galaxy feared as unstoppable forces of nature, humans treated as research opportunities and tactical problems to solve. Admiral Chen's voice interrupted their growing comprehension of human military capability. All fleet commanders. Final tactical briefing. Enemy bioships show standard Devourer configuration. Planet-class vessels are priority targets for kinetic bombardment. Smaller bioships will be engaged by hunter-killer groups. Remember, we need live specimens from at least 12 different bioship classes for the research division. Understood, Admiral, came the coordinated response from hundreds of ship commanders. Death to the Hive. Samples for science. Captain Veltar made a decision that would haunt him for the rest of his life. Dr. Quilesh, transmit a message to Alliance Command. Tell them we have made contact with a species that treats Devourer hive fleets as minor tactical problems. Captain, Dr. Quilesh replied softly, they will not believe us. Then record everything, he ordered. The galaxy needs to know what we have found here. The human fleet finished its deployment just as the Devourer hive fleet reached the outer planets of the system. 15,000 bioships moved with organic confidence toward what they expected to be another easy conquest. The humans waited with the patience of apex predators. Their ships hung motionless in space, weapon systems powered but silent. Across hundreds of vessels, human crews prepared for battle with the casual efficiency of farmers, preparing to clear pests from their fields. Admiral Chen's final broadcast to the Alliance ship was both polite and terrifying. Captain Veltar, you may want to shield your sensors during the next phase. Human warfare can be quite intense for species unaccustomed to total war. We would hate for this to damage our new diplomatic relationship. As the two fleets approached engagement range, the crew of Serenity's Hope realized they were about to witness something unprecedented in galactic history. Not a desperate last stand, but a demonstration of why evolution on death worlds produced the galaxy's most dangerous predators. The battle was about to begin, and the Devourers had no idea what they were flying into. The Devourer hive fleet entered the human system with the confidence of a species that had never known defeat. Their bioships moved in organic waves, flowing through space like a living tsunami of destruction. At the heart of their formation, massive planet-class vessels pulsed with malevolent life, each one large enough to consume an entire world. Captain Veltar had seen recordings of Devourer attacks before. They always followed the same pattern. The bioships would swarm the defending forces, overwhelming them through sheer numbers and biological aggression. Then the planet-class vessels would descend to the surface and begin the feeding process that would strip a world bare in days. The humans did not follow any defensive pattern the Alliance had ever seen. As the Devourer fleet approached the inner system, the human ships began moving. But instead of forming defensive lines or retreat formations, they spread out like hunters surrounding prey. Ships from the ice worlds vanished into the shadows of asteroids and debris fields. Volcanic world fleets accelerated directly toward the largest enemy vessels. Radiation world ships took positions that would put them in the path of Devourer bioweapons. They are not defending, Dr. Quillesh realized with growing horror. They are hunting. Admiral Chen's voice came across all human frequencies with calm authority. All fleets, engage Pattern Omega. Show these invaders why we are called Deathworlders. The battle began with something no species had ever attempted against the Devourers. A coordinated ambush. Ships from the ice worlds had been hiding in the outer system's asteroid belt for hours. As the Devourer fleet passed their position, they activated weapons that turned space rocks into relativistic projectiles. Asteroids the size of cities accelerated to nearly the speed of light, striking the bioships with energy releases comparable to stellar explosions. The Devourer biohulls, designed to regenerate damage from energy weapons, could not adapt fast enough to kinetic impacts that vaporized sections of ship before their biological systems could respond. Impossible, Commander Thek buzzed. Kinetic weapons cannot penetrate Devourer bioarmor. They can if you hit hard enough, Dr. Quillesh replied, analyzing the weapon signatures. The humans are using relativistic impact velocities. They are not trying to penetrate the armor. They are trying to completely destroy it. The volcanic world fleets engaged next, using tactics that violated every principle of space warfare the Alliance understood. Instead of maintaining safe engagement distances, human ships accelerated directly toward the largest Devourer vessels. Their weapons burned with temperatures that registered beyond measurement scales. Plasma cannons operating at stellar core temperatures, Dr. Quillesh reported in disbelief. How do their ships survive generating that much heat? They evolved on worlds where this temperature is normal, Captain Veltar realized. To them, this is not extreme warfare. This is their natural environment. The human ships from volcanic worlds engaged Devourer bioships in close combat that no other species would survive. They used weapons that burned hot enough to boil away bioarmor in seconds, fighting at ranges where both fleets were constantly damaged by each other's attacks. But the most horrifying human tactics came from the radiation world fleets. These ships did something that had never been attempted in the history of galactic warfare. They boarded Devourer vessels while the battle was still raging. Radiation. Fleet 7 has initiated boarding operations on planet-class bioship designated target. Alpha, came a calm report from the human tactical network. Captain Veltar watched in stunned horror as human ships attached themselves to the massive Devourer vessels like parasites. Then human soldiers in armored suits began cutting their way into the bioship's hulls. They are fighting inside the enemy vessels, he whispered. How can they survive in that environment? The answer came from monitoring the human soldiers' communications. They were fighting in environments filled with acids that dissolved most known materials, breathing atmospheres toxic to normal life, and operating in radiation levels that would kill most species in seconds. To them, this was acceptable working conditions. Team 7 has reached the neural cluster, reported one human soldier. Beginning specimen extraction. Note, local atmosphere is only mildly corrosive. Much better than the tyrant swarms we faced last year. The Devourer Hive Fleet, which had conquered 1,000 worlds through overwhelming biological aggression, found itself fighting enemies that were more biologically aggressive than they were. Human ships from different worlds used tactics adapted from their hostile environments. Ice world vessels operated with perfect coordination and complete silence, striking from multiple directions simultaneously. Fire world ships engaged in direct combat that turned sections of space into miniature stars. Radiation world crews fought hand-to-hand inside enemy vessels, treating lethal environments as minor inconveniences. But the most terrifying moment came when Admiral Chen activated what she had called Protocol 7. All volunteers for kinetic impact missions. Report final positions, she broadcast across the human fleet. Admiral, Captain Veltar transmitted urgently. Surely you are not planning suicide attacks? Not suicide, Captain, Admiral Chen replied calmly. Calculated exchange ratios. One human ship for one planet-class bioship is tactically acceptable. Our crews understand the mathematics of total war. 50 human vessels accelerated directly toward the largest devourer ships. Their crews transmitted final reports with the casual professionalism of soldiers completing routine missions. As each ship impacted its target, nuclear explosions turned sections of space white-hot. The planet-class bioships, each one capable of consuming an entire world, were destroyed by humans who treated their own lives as ammunition in tactical calculations. They fight like demons, Dr. Quillesh whispered. No, Commander Thek corrected, his sensors analyzing the battle patterns. Demons fight for destruction. Humans fight for extermination. They are calculating the complete elimination of enemy forces with maximum efficiency. The Devourer Hive fleet began to show something it had never displayed before. Fear. Bioships that had consumed civilizations across the galaxy started trying to retreat, but the humans had anticipated this. Ships from all human worlds had formed a perimeter around the entire system. Every escape route was covered by weapons that tracked fleeing bioships with predatory precision. The hunters had become the hunted, and the humans were not allowing any prey to escape. Admiral Chen, Captain Veltar transmitted desperately. Surely some of the bioships could be captured for study rather than destroyed. Admiral Chen's response was delivered with calm finality. Captain, we learned long ago that species like the Devourers cannot be reasoned with, negotiated with, or contained. They exist only to consume. The only permanent solution is complete elimination. We call this the Death World Doctrine. Threats to humanity are removed permanently. The battle continued for 6 more hours. By the end, 15,000 Devourer bioships had been reduced to expanding clouds of superheated gas and debris. Not a single enemy vessel escaped the system. The human fleet had lost 137 ships and approximately 40,000 crew members. They discussed these losses with the same calm professionalism they had shown throughout the battle. Acceptable exchange ratio achieved, Admiral Chen reported to her fleet commanders. Total enemy elimination confirmed. Research teams report successful specimen collection from 12 different bioship classes. Captain Veltar stared at the tactical display showing the complete annihilation of the galaxy's most feared enemy. The crew of Serenity's Hope sat in stunned silence, trying to process what they had witnessed. The humans had not just defeated the Devourer Hive fleet, they had studied it, adapted to it, and eliminated it with mathematical precision. They fought like the apex predators they had evolved to be, but with technology and coordination that made them the most dangerous species the galaxy had ever seen. And throughout the entire battle, they had remained polite, professional, and genuinely concerned about their new alliance friends' comfort and safety. The galaxy would never be the same. The debris field that had once been the Devourer Hive fleet stretched across half the solar system. Pieces of bioships drifted through space, slowly breaking apart in the stellar wind. The humans were already at work, collecting samples and studying the remains of their enemies. Captain Veltar watched human salvage teams move through the wreckage with scientific precision. They cataloged every piece of Devourer technology, analyzed every biological sample, and recorded every tactical lesson the battle had provided. They treat warfare like a science experiment, Dr. Quillesh observed. To them, it probably is, Captain Veltar replied. They have been fighting extinction-level threats for so long that battlefield analysis has become routine. Admiral Chen contacted Serenity's Hope 3 hours after the last Devourer bioship had been destroyed. Her predator smile was gone, replaced by genuine warmth and curiosity. Captain Veltar, we would be honored to invite you and your crew to visit Earth. It would be humanity's first official diplomatic reception for the Galactic Alliance. Captain Veltar hesitated. Everything he had witnessed suggested that visiting the human homeworld might be extremely dangerous for his crew. But diplomatic protocol demanded that he accept the invitation. We would be honored, Admiral Chen. The journey to Earth's surface was unlike anything the Alliance crew had experienced. Their shuttle descended through an atmosphere that should have killed them instantly, protected only by human environmental suits designed for conditions far worse than Earth's surface. As they broke through the cloud layer, Dr. Quillesh gasped at what she saw below. Vast cities spread across continents, connected by transportation networks that moved at incredible speeds. Oceans teemed with life so aggressive that their sensors detected constant biological warfare between different species. Everything is trying to kill everything else, she whispered. Welcome to Earth, said their human escort, Lieutenant Commander James Rodriguez. It's a bit intense for off-world visitors, but you get used to it. The Alliance crew landed at what humans called New Geneva, a city built on the shore of a lake that, according to their sensors, contained enough toxic algae to poison most known life forms. Human children were swimming in it. Is that water not dangerous? Commander Thek asked. Only if you drink too much of it, Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez replied. The blue-green algae can cause stomach problems in large quantities, but human immune systems adapted to it generations ago. The diplomatic reception took place in a building surrounded by gardens filled with plants that the Alliance sensors identified as highly toxic. Human families walked casually among flowers that produced neurotoxins and trees that secreted acids through their bark. During the formal dinner, Captain Veltar tried to understand how humans had become such effective warriors, while maintaining such a friendly and curious culture. Admiral Chen, he said carefully, your species shows remarkable military capability, yet you seem genuinely interested in peaceful cooperation with the Alliance. How do you balance these two aspects of your nature? Admiral Chen considered the question while eating food that would have been lethal to most galactic species. Captain, humans learned long ago that the universe is full of things that want to kill us. Some of those things can be reasoned with, befriended, or avoided. Others, like the Devourers, exist only to destroy. We have learned to identify the difference. She gestured toward the gardens visible through the dining hall windows. Every species on Earth had to learn the same lesson. Those that could adapt, cooperate, or coexist survived. Those that existed only to destroy were eliminated. Natural selection on a death world teaches harsh lessons but effective ones. Dr. Quellish asked the question that had been troubling her since the battle. Admiral, your forces destroyed the entire Devourer fleet. 15,000 ships. How many similar battles has humanity fought? Major Hive fleet engagements? 17 confirmed over the past 2 centuries, plus hundreds of smaller encounters with various hostile species. The galaxy is a dangerous place, Dr. Quellish. We have learned to survive in it. Commander Thek's analytical mind focused on the tactical implications. Admiral, how many other species possess similar military capabilities to yours? Admiral Chen's smile returned, but this time it carried a hint of sadness. Commander, as far as we know, no other species has evolved under conditions similar to Earth's. Most civilizations develop on worlds that are comfortable and safe. They never learn to fight extinction-level threats because they never face any. She paused, looking out at the toxic garden where human children played among deadly plants. This makes us uniquely suited for dealing with galactic threats, but also uniquely dangerous as neighbors. We understand that our capabilities can be frightening to peaceful species. Captain Veltar realized that Admiral Chen was giving him a diplomatic warning disguised as friendly conversation. Humanity was offering friendship and alliance, but they wanted the galaxy to understand exactly what they were capable of if that friendship was refused or betrayed. Over the following days, the Alliance crew toured human facilities and learned more about their new neighbors. They visited research centers where human scientists studied captured specimens from dozens of hostile alien species. They toured manufacturing plants where humans built weapons specifically designed to counter different types of galactic threats. Most disturbing of all, they visited the Strategic Planning Center, where human military analysts maintained detailed files on every known intelligent species in the galaxy. We prefer to be prepared, explained General Sarah Martinez, the facility's commander. Our analysts study potential threats, potential allies, and potential neutral parties. We believe in comprehensive intelligence gathering. Dr. Quellish noticed that the human files on Alliance species were surprisingly detailed and accurate. How long have you been observing our civilizations? About 50 years, General Martinez replied casually. Ever since we detected your first interstellar radio transmissions. We'd like to know who our neighbors are before we introduce ourselves. The implication struck Captain Veltar like a physical blow. Humanity had been watching the Galactic Alliance for half a century, studying their strengths, weaknesses, and capabilities. The humans had chosen when and how to reveal themselves, and they had done so only when it served their purposes. On their final day on Earth, Admiral Chen gave the Alliance crew a tour of the Human Defense Command Center. The facility coordinated military operations across 63 colony worlds and monitored threats throughout their region of the galaxy. "Admiral," Captain Veltar said as they observed the massive strategic displays, "what are humanity's intentions regarding the rest of the galaxy?" Admiral Chen considered the question carefully. "Captain, humanity has no interest in conquest or domination. We prefer to be left alone to develop our colonies and explore new worlds. However, we will not tolerate threats to human lives or human interests." She gestured to the displays showing human patrol routes and defensive positions. "We maintain what we call defensive depth around human space. Any hostile force approaching our territory is monitored, evaluated, and if necessary, eliminated before it can threaten our worlds." "And the Galactic Alliance?" Captain Veltar asked. "We very much hope to establish peaceful relations with your civilizations. The galaxy is large enough for all of us, and we believe we can learn much from each other." Admiral Chen's expression grew serious. "But Captain, please understand that humanity will defend itself against any threat regardless of its origin or intentions." The message was clear. Humanity was offering friendship and cooperation, but they were also establishing boundaries that should not be crossed. As Serenity's Hope prepared to depart Earth's system, Captain Veltar composed his final report to Alliance Command. How could he explain that humanity represented both the greatest opportunity and the greatest potential threat in galactic history? They were friendly, curious, and genuinely interested in peaceful cooperation. They were also apex predators who had evolved on a world that tried to kill them every day, developed technology beyond most species' comprehension, and treated galaxy-level threats as routine military problems. "Dr. Quellish," he said as Earth fell away behind them, "how do you think the Alliance will react to our report?" "They will not believe the military capabilities we observed," she replied. "No peaceful species can comprehend warfare on that scale. And if they do believe us?" Dr. Quellish was quiet for a long moment. "Then they will have to decide whether humanity represents salvation or doom for the rest of the galaxy." As they entered hyperspace for the journey home, Captain Veltar reflected on humanity's final gift to them. Admiral Chen had provided complete tactical data on 17 different hostile alien species that the humans had encountered and defeated. Species that the Alliance had never heard of. Threats that humanity had eliminated before they could spread throughout the galaxy. The humans had been protecting the galaxy for centuries, without anyone knowing they existed. They had fought wars against nightmares that would have consumed entire civilizations, and they had won those wars so completely that most of the galaxy never learned the threats had existed. Now humanity had revealed itself to the Galactic Alliance, offering friendship and cooperation.